43 credit hours of coursework can be completed over the course of 1 year. The proposed curriculum requires the completion of 7 new courses, with the new cohort enrolling each fall semester and completing each summer. The institution is well positioned to support paramedic science programming because its lead faculty member for EMT has experience in developing and directing paramedic programming at other institutions in the Mid-South region. Aside from one additional faculty member, the college will utilize existing classroom space, equipment, and other resources already currently being used in its EMT and advanced EMT certificate programs. The program anticipates an annual enrollment of 20 students with 51 projected graduates by summer of 2026. There are 12 institutions offering similar programs statewide, and I would like to introduce and turn it over to Vice Chancellor Jeff Gray to speak to the board's consideration of the program and respond to any questions. I'm also available to take questions if you have them. Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Good afternoon. I'm joined today by our Dean of Allied Health and Sciences, Aaron Gordon, lead instructor for EMT, Glenn Fawett, and West Memphis Fire Chief, Chuck Brackenseek, who is representing the employment sector and is a community stakeholder. Depending on the questions following the presentation, I may defer to these individuals to respond to any questions that they may be more informed about or better positioned to answer. I'd like to begin by thanking the members of the Arkansas Higher Education Coordinating Board for agreeing and gathering to reconsider ASU Mid-South's paramedic science program proposal. The proposed program directly aligns with the role and scope of the institution, has significant documented need and support from employers in the region, and is a logical addition to and extension of the college's existing basic and advanced EMT certificate programs, which have demonstrated viability and success, particularly among underserved race categories. As outlined in the role and scope designation for Arkansas State University Mid-South, the college is expected to serve the needs of residents of Crittenden and Poinsett counties who are seeking career and technical education, as well as the needs of employers in the area seeking employees who have basic workplace and technical skills, or employers seeking to upgrade skills of current employees. The proposed paramedic science program directly serves the needs of these audiences. More generally, the proposed program aligns directly with the mission of community colleges everywhere to provide accessible and affordable certificate and associate degree programs that will support graduates entering directly into the workforce. Next slide, please. The need for trained first responders is substantial, with projected 20,000 openings nationally each year for licensed EMTs and paramedics, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. One study performed by the American Ambulance Association in 2022 found that an astonishing 55% of part-time paramedic positions went unfilled because of a lack of qualified candidates. This need for trained and licensed paramedics is reflected in the labor market data for the Mid-South region. According to Lightcast, one of the most renowned providers of labor market analytics, paramedic jobs are expected to grow by 7.3% in the next 3 years in the region we serve, which includes Northeast Arkansas, Southwestern Tennessee, and Northwest Mississippi. In comparison, demand nationally is expected to grow by 4.4%. The same review shows strong hiring activity in the region currently, with an average of 36 monthly hires. Next slide, please. In developing the program proposal, the college conducted a survey of employer partners in the region, further confirming the need. I should note that there is a slight discrepancy between the employers that are noted here and those identified in the program proposal, as we received a couple more responses following submission of the proposal on November 1st, 2022. So I've updated the employer feedback segment to incorporate those responses. Next slide, please. The need was described by one respondent as critical and desperate. In total, survey respondents indicated that 67 positions needed filling immediately, with approximately 210 additional hires anticipated in the next 5 years. Respondents also indicated that entry-level paramedics could earn between $18 and $26 per hour and up to $60,000 to $82,000 annually with overtime. 8 of the 11 employers surveyed indicated that their organization provides some form of financial assistance for students, either tuition paid or reimbursed. When we originally proposed this program to the Arkansas Higher Education Coordinating Board in January, one of the questions that was posed is, what makes the proposed program unique in comparison to other programs, which I hope to address at this time. One of the things that makes it unique is also an indicator of the strong occupational demand in the region, and that is the wages that are paid to workers in the sector. Next slide, please. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, licensed paramedics in Crittenden County can expect to earn among the highest annual mean wages in the country. In fact, Crittenden County, as you should be able to see on this map, is the only county in Arkansas to fall into this range, likely as a result of its inclusion in the Memphis metropolitan statistical area, the entirety of which falls into this same range from roughly $49,000 to $94,000 annually. Next slide. Another unique feature of the institution is the population that we serve and the success that our EMT and advanced EMT programs have had serving underrepresented populations, specifically Black or African American and Hispanic and Latino students. For context, in fall 2022, ASU Mid-South student demographics included 79% first generation, 76% low income, 69% academically underprepared, 57% Black, non-Hispanic, and 4% Hispanic. And 67% of adult students were enrolled part-time due to family and work obligations. As you can see from the chart, within the EMT and advanced EMT certificate programs, we have demonstrated tremendous success graduating members of underrepresented populations, awarding certificates to 63 Black or African American, Hispanic, and Latino students in the past 3 years, the most in the state. In fact, in academic year 2022, 58% of ASU Mid-South's completion in the EMT and AMT programs were students in the underserved race category. Next slide, please. Finally, one of the most attractive features of our EMT and advanced EMT programs, which we plan to replicate in the proposed paramedic program, is what we refer to as the fire schedule. The fire schedule allows firefighters and other first responders to attend classes around their work schedules. As you are likely aware, these occupations typically require employees to work swing shifts from week to week, oftentimes for 72-hour shifts with 48 hours off. We've had success accommodating these shifts by running multiple sections that they can attend as their schedule allows, without missing important content and skills instruction. It is my belief that the proposed paramedic science program at ASU Mid-South will help meet a substantial documented workforce need for trained and licensed paramedics in the Mid-South, while also providing training to Crittenden County residents, as well as residents of the Memphis metro area, that will lead to high demand, high wage jobs. Of course, most importantly, we will be training these students to save lives. And I can't express the need for this program more clearly than that. I thank you for your time and your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions from anyone on the committee? I have one question I'd like to ask. Your standards for admission requires that they have a 19 in reading and some other things. What happens to those students who come in who don't meet the standards for admission? How are you prepared to help them enter the program?
Well, we've got a couple of different ways that we can address that. I mean, one thing I think is important to consider is that we don't want to put anybody in a situation that is going to set a student up for failure if they're not prepared for it. I think a big piece of that is being able to demonstrate that they've already been successful in earning their EMT license. So typically, if you've got somebody that's done that, they tend to have a little bit of real world experience, both in that field and maybe just academically generally. In addition to that, this institution has a lot of experience with providing academic learning supports to students who may be academically underprepared. Usually that's defined as somebody who does not score college level on an ACT or AccuPlace or equivalent placement exam. We have tutorial services. Glenn Fott and I, our EMT lead instructor, we were discussing just the other day that they've identified a tutor who can serve on staff and provide actually tutorial support to students in the EMT, EMS sector. So we're hoping to get that person on board soon. But we do have tutorial services on our campus here with trained tutors on staff who are available by appointment or by walk-in. That they can come in and get assistance if they need it. But I think a big piece of it is going to be making sure that we've got rigorous enough admission requirements that we're not going to be setting somebody up for failure, but also being able to provide the services that are necessary to help that student be successful when and if he or she is accepted into the program. Again, I think we've been able to demonstrate that in a lot of other areas, as well as within the existing EMT and advanced EMT programs. In fact, I believe, Glenn, we've got typically in our advanced EMT program, we tend to have about a 90 to 95% success rate on the licensure exam and similar percentages on our completion rates for that program. I think we're well equipped to handle it. We have a variety of other wraparound services on our campus that can provide additional support, career pathways initiative, as well as the tutorial services that I mentioned previously, TRIO SSS and TRIO EOC that work with students such as you're describing to help them be successful academically.
And I noticed you had an additional budget item of $177,000. How is that going to be covered in the budget for next year?
Certainly, and this would not be new funding. One of those expenses is currently, one of the items within that larger $177,000 is part of Glenn Fott's salary right now as our EMT instructor. In addition to that, we do have what's referred to for us, it's the Advancing Delta Talent Grant. It's Department of Labor Workforce Opportunities for Rural Communities grant that part of it supports paramedic programming. And we hope to leverage that grant for some of those funds to help us with some accreditation startup costs, as well as some direct student benefit to help defray the cost of testing equipment and supplies. In addition to that, we've got one program in particular that we're discontinuing. That's the respiratory therapy program that will be reallocating a significant part of that budget to support standing up this program. And in addition, we've got a couple of other programs that we're in the process of teaching out and discontinuing, and that should free up additional resources to support this one. I don't anticipate needing, in fact, we've got it pretty well mapped out. We won't need any additional funds. We'll be able to reallocate existing funds to support this program.
Good. Are there questions from other members of the board, of the committee?
Yes, this is Grayson Bigger. I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation today. I appreciate you answering some of our questions. And I was excited to hear about the scheduling flexibility because that's one that I had. Being on a border of multiple states, that comes with its own unique challenges. Do you think that are there going to be extra hurdles in terms of clinicals or getting these paramedics licensed in Tennessee or Mississippi?
I'm going to speak to what I can on that. I've got Glenn on this call who is much more knowledgeable on that topic than I am. However, because of the existing partnerships and relationships that we've got in place with the EMT and advanced EMT programs, we're already well positioned to be able to provide clinical instruction to students enrolling in this proposed program. Glenn, do you want to add a little bit to that in terms of the reciprocity between Arkansas and Tennessee and concerns that might be there?
Yes, we're already doing that with the AEMTs. The advanced EMTs, they have to get the ones that are coming over from Tennessee and Mississippi. They have to get Arkansas reciprocity in order to do the clinical. So we're already set up in that mode for that to happen.
Good.
That's good to know. And the more I kind of dug into this, the more I kind of learned that some of the issues for these programs that across the state is they're really having trouble finding instructors that are qualified to teach these classes. And I saw that you have a program director, but I just wanted to know if you kind of secured your instructors so you know that this can, if we approve this, that you can start going full force at it.
So we've got two on staff right now, in addition to Gwen, that are teaching in the EMT and advanced EMT programs. They're adjunct instructors. But we are looking forward to one of those individuals submitting an application for full-time employment. He's been pretty heavily involved in his part-time capacity in helping us to develop this program. And again, I can't praise enough the relationships that Mr. Fott has developed in that sector. I have no doubt that we've got several folks that we can tap into, whether on a part-time basis or when we get ready to identify a full-time instructor, that will have candidates to apply for those positions.
And this is my last question. I promise I'll shut up after this and let somebody else go. But looking at the work grant, I've worked on those before. And one thing I was really interested in when reading this proposal was that you're working with a lot of non-trad or underserved communities. Is there anything built into this work grant to be supporting them, like offering transportation assistance, childcare, anything like that, that would really help like secure success for this?
Not in that particular grant. We have, and actually I will mention, I saw Dr. Callie Donovan on the call as well, and she would have an intimate familiarity with that grant and can correct me if I'm going to misspeak here. But in addition to that grant, I mentioned Arkansas Career Pathways. That provides those sorts of direct student incentives that you're describing there, with being able to provide gas vouchers to eligible participants, as well as childcare vouchers. So we've got some of those mechanisms in place, not necessarily with the grant that you just referenced, but with other programs on our campus.
Thank you. I think that's really helpful when looking at programs that are supporting already working adults.
Certainly.
Are you getting any assistance and help from the hospitals and other medical facilities around there to offset some of the expense of this?
I will let Gwen speak directly to that, as he would be the one who works with those and would receive any sort of donations or financial commitments that have been made over the years. But we do have pretty good relationships there. Gwen, do you want to talk about any that may answer that question?
Not at this. I mean, we haven't had to use that at this time. I mean, that basically the hospitals have donated. They are donating their time, of course, to be the clinical sites, and they provide the preceptors and the subject matter experts that we may need to come into the program and give their time in lectures and things like that. So we're going to involve the hospitals in maybe what you would say a non-financial way, but at the same time, these individuals are donating their time to come in and help us.
And to be honest, we've got a pretty I think strong track record of securing federal grants, state level grants, as well as private donors who have been able to help us acquire the equipment and other resources that we've needed in our EMT and advanced EMT programs, as well as our other allied health programs generally. From my perspective, it's not ever been too much of a challenge to make sure that Gwen and others in those programs have the equipment and the resources, as well as the students, that they need in order to execute those responsibilities.
Other questions from the committee? In reading the program you're presenting, it was well written, very detailed, very well explained. I thought you did an excellent job. Your to be commended on that. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cash.
This is Callie Donovan from ASU Mid-South. Could I just interject to follow up on what Jeff said with the work grant to respond more specifically to that? And I'll keep it very brief. There are some participant supports in the grant. We're just in the process of launching that grant, and there's budget for I can't get that word out, for participant support, which is the students. For students in this program, we're also using these funds to help support the start of a truck driving program. The budget is there. It's loose right now in that we haven't developed the policies that allocate certain numbers of dollars to certain kinds of supports, but there is some support there. We're just at the beginning of the process with that, so it really hadn't stuck with us internally yet in terms of specifically what that will bring to students who participate. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Other questions? Or evidently we've got enough people to respond to it, so. If there are no other questions, do I hear a motion to recommend to the full board approval of this technical certificate, paramedic science by Arkansas State University Mid-South?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a second on that? I can second it, I guess, so we'll get it approved. So we will make that recommendation to the full board. And
Dr. Cash, we really need someone else on the academic committee to second it.
oh, okay. Jim, are you there? Do we have another committee member to second that?
We do. We have Dr. Carr. Yes, Dr. Carr on the call, and I believe Andy McNeil has logged on as well.
Well, he was here. I heard him earlier. Are you trying to reach him, Nicole?
He just texted me that he got disconnected, but he does second the motion.
Okay, good. So that means we can recommend it to full board. So at this point, do I hear a motion to adjourn from the committee to the full board?
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And now we go back to the chairman of the board.
Thank you, Dr. Cash. We now go to our full board meeting, and the only action item we have is to vote on the recommendation of the academic committee. I would entertain a motion to do that at this time.
Okay, I would.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
that's fine. We've got it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Nicole, would you read call roll on this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Chair Revels,
Yes.
Kevin Anderson,
Yes.
Grayson Bigger,
Yes.
Al Brodell,
Yes.
Dr. Jim Carr, Dr. Jerry Cash,
Yes.
Kelly Erskine, Chad Hooten, Andy McNeil, and Dr. Kyle Miller. I see Dr. Miller on there.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
We have 7 of the 10 still present on the call.
Good.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, so that vote was accepted, and that's all the business that we have for today. Does anybody have any other business to bring before the board before we adjourn? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, And I'm sure we're going to have a unanimous vote on that. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be April 28th. And I look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you so much for all your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.